We have it here from the Post Millennial. Biden-Harris admin's disaster loan program tapped out after hurricanes. But wait, the next story. Biden announces $425 million in military aid for Ukraine.
How could both
and now,
things be true?
You may not be very angry at this, so I'm going to play this video for you.
So my mom lives across the street. She's 92 years old, and as I was trying to get her to the door, my husband looked out and he says, "We can't get out." We went to the back door, and my husband got a foothold because the water was probably knee deep, and he pushed me across the water to where I could get a foothold. And then he got my mom and put her out to where I could get a hold of her hands, and I pulled her to me. And then I saw my house. It was just like it picked up. The water was over the top. You could just see the eave. Just like it floated away. And as it went across, I think the tip end of my house hit my mom's house. And hers just uprooted and it floated away. So we just lost both of them. We are alive, which I'm so blessed and so grateful. But we've lived here 50 years, and my mom had lived there 70 years, and we've just never seen anything like this.
So shout out to the Appalachian Podcast. And thank you for watching that short clip of this woman who is suffering. It's brutal to watch. And I hope y'all are watching this are not sad. I hope you're infuriated because the context is the loan program for disaster is tapped out, but $425 million of American taxpayer money is flowing right over to Ukraine. So I don't care what the reason is. I don't care for the fact checkers to come out and say, but Tim, those are different funds. And Congress I don't care. Congress should get their asses back to Washington, D.C. and make sure that little old lady can take care of her mom and they have houses before they give one penny to Ukraine.
You have to stop giving the benefit of the doubt to political actors who think that you're evil and that your way of life should be destroyed, right? We have to look at this and we have to say, you know what? Because we don't trust these people, there's only one answer to this. The purpose of a system is what it does. The purpose of this system that our leaders have developed is to send money to foreign countries and allow Americans to die.
It's not even America last. It's quite literally America never, right?
America never.
And it's not even just the $425 million that they announced today, because this is all coming from, what was it, about a month ago when they were negotiating the CR. They were coming up against the deadline that the White House was going to have to appropriate the $8 billion in aid for Ukraine. And it's so wild, right? When they had an outstanding $8 billion worth of funds for Ukraine, instead of reappropriating it for the United States, they chose to continue to administer it to Ukraine. But it was October 2nd, as people like her were having her houses ripped away, that they actually gave several $100 million via USAID to Ukraine for, I kid you not, storm preparation and winter weatherization efforts. Yeah. And remember, but it's so tone deaf. You have Kamala Harris tweeting, "Oh, I'm giving $157 million to Lebanon." And I think too, as much as we could rank on how obvious it is that all they care about is Ukraine or Israel, any other country, it's very interesting, right? For all what they claim to be bipartisan or independent NGO type activist groups that were busy giving upwards of $1 billion, right, to election administration in 2020. Now you see the continued reporting, NBC out today saying that, there's difficulties with voting, especially in rural counties in North Carolina. You have David Axelrod celebrating that rural people probably won't be able to vote. So right?
Upsetting
and
to watch
it's
that.
wild. And frankly, I think it's proof that all of that private election spending in 2020 was set to turn out votes for Democrats, because where have they been after the hurricane, right? They haven't offered to give a single penny. I believe the number that I saw at the latest was $30,000 from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in its entirety to help voter efforts in North Carolina. And then, of course, you have far left lawyer Mark Elias celebrating the ballot changes that they've instituted there. But the hypocrisy there is just, it's so glaring.
Congressmen constantly argue that they can walk and chew gun at the same time when it comes to supporting Ukraine and supporting domestic issues that we have going on. And I think and I hope it's true, but if it is true, then they should hold themselves to that standard and actually deal with these other issues that Americans are facing. I think support for Ukraine is important, but you're opening yourself up to these very easy political attacks by not dealing with domestic issues at home
Well, it's more
while
than just
helping.
a political attack. It's Americans who aren't able to fix their houses, who are going without disaster relief funds. And it's a southern border that there's reporting today. A third of the cameras are inoperable and turned off, so anyone can enter this country.
Yeah, but I don't think these things are zero. I think you could do both at the same time. I
think
believe
the point
Congress
is
when they said that. But
prioritization should be that you should put America first. And when you're running out of funds, the disaster loan program, and Ukraine is getting an additional $425 million today alone on top of $187 billion, there's a very, very clear prioritization going on that's putting Ukraine first. And the further proof is that when they're debating, right, the CR last time, they said, if you want the border funding, you have to have Ukraine funding too. You have to have funding for Taiwan and Israel too.
Yeah,
I totally
not
agree.
just
Yeah.
Ukraine funding, but like only 1/5 of the budget can actually be dedicated towards improving the situation at the border, and the entire rest of the bill has to pay for. So really, it was actually a aid to Ukraine bill with a little bit of border security tacked on.
I don't even think that it wasn't. It was amnesty. It wasn't even border security.
No, unless the border bill is opposed by the Southern Poverty Law Center, ACLU, and every Democrat, it's not a border security bill, right? But
That's so funny.
But it's also crazy too, right? When you see Martha Raddatz sit there and say, "Oh well, handful of transnational criminals and gangs are taking over,"
It's just a handful, Natalie.
Like, mad.
You think
It's just a couple of apartment complexes.
Yeah, like you
a couple.
think that
In
the
San
same
Antonio
ruling
and
class-
Aurora.
that like the ruling class in DC would be okay with a handful of Ukrainian territories being ceded to the Russians. They aren't even okay,
okay with it.
I am, right? They aren't even okay with a handful of compromises coming from Ukraine sitting down getting a peace treaty. So I think you see the
And you saw
glaring-
today, like, Russia is bringing in 10,000 North Korean troops to fight Ukraine.
Well, and two, I think
Wow.
10,000.
the most concerning part
They've
too
got a
Wow.
deal. Putin and Kim Jong-un have a deal. And
That's dangerous. Those 10,000 North Korean fighters are going to get to experience life outside of their.
that's dangerous too.
Utopia.
Well, but you know what?
gonna get
Maybe
on
they will
TikTok.
take maybe they will take a cue from Russia, because Russia, after they sent all of their fighters into Europe, once they brought them home, they sent them to Siberia or executed them. So maybe that is part of North Korea's plan. But North Korea also blew up like land crossings between North Korea and South Korea. They're really moving in a different direction right now.
You mentioned Russia. There was a PolitiFact fact check that they put out that they were tracing a lot of so-called hurricane disinformation to foreign agents, such as Russia, believe it or not. And they were actually calling, I think it was MSNBC on the Sunday shows last week. They had Nina Jankowicz on of Disinformation Governance Board fame to say that they should bring back the Disinformation Governance
were
Board
praising
because
her.
of this. And I think that they're using, like, they will use what happened with the hurricanes, right? This massive tidal wave, no pun intended, of disinformation that has, cost Americans their lives, when in reality it's the continued prioritization of Ukraine and every other country except the United States. But they will use it to lay the predicate for more censorship going in to the 2024 election. You already see it with House Democrats sending letters to all the tech platforms in light of what happened with the hurricane response, saying that you guys need to censor misinformation and conspiracy theories. You guys need to partner with fact checkers and be very proactive in how you're going to approach that. So they're definitely weaponizing this narrative, in my opinion.
How about we have a law that says we can give aid, right? If Congress approves aid or whatever, and then it also states that at the time of a disaster, all aid for any foreign entity is diverted to the U.S. to alleviate said disaster. And those disasters will be based on disaster declarations and states of emergency. And you know what that means? Well, we've been in a state of emergency for what, like 100 or something, like forever? Yeah, no more money ever going to any other country until we end those states of emergency and those executive authorities.
I mean, that's fair enough if we are in a state of emergency.
Why are we giving our money away?
no.
It's like your house is on fire. Like, emergency, quick. Hey, do you want to order pizza?
I wish the military-industrial complex would weaponize the southern border and viewed that as much as a cash cow as they would the borders of other countries. But a girl can dream,
Is there something in Mexico? Can we discover oil in Mexico somewhere or something?
Yeah.
Because then,
right?
and then the U.S. is going to be like, send in the troops. We have Alaska. How come we don't occupy Alaska?
Well, because Tim, I actually don't know if you know this, but when you pull oil out of the ground in the United States, it's bad for the environment. But when it's done in another country
And then we buy it.
sent here, it's good for the environment.
Oh,
yeah.
I
So,
didn't
Carbon
know that.
offsets.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Thank you, Seamus.
You're welcome. You guys should really get educated on
The
this.
audience is much smarter now having listened to it.
I'm so glad I can educate everybody on that. What's hilarious, of course, is it's the exact opposite. J.D. Vance made a really good point, too, during the debate. I thought he had one of the best answers I heard on climate change, which is the United States has much cleaner energy than every other
That's right.
major country on the planet. So if you care about green energy, you should want the American economy to be producing the most energy and to have the most industry.
Agreed. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.